Chapter 4. Maya. January 19. Angela and Paul parked the car in front of Maya's house. It had been dark when they were there last, and Paul had not noticed the charming neighborhood. Every house on the street had its own unique identity. The distinctive architecture made quite an impression, giving each house a grand appearance. The streets were lined with lush green trees and well-maintained bushes. In the distance he could see the beautiful hills kissing the clouds. He would have loved to live in a place like this, but a home here would cost upwards of $1 million. He knew it wouldn't happen in this lifetime. The door was open before they got to it. Maya stood there looking drained, and her bloodshot eyes indicated she had been crying. Angela winced, knowing she was imposing on her too soon. But there was work to be done. A one-day break would be all Maya would get. "Good morning, Maya. How are you holding up?" asked Angela. "It has been difficult." "That's understandable. But you do see this is important to make progress." "Yes, yes, I do. Would you like some tea? I was making some for myself." "No, thank you," replied Angela before Paul could answer. She knew he wouldn't say no, but she wanted to keep it professional. Disappointed, he scanned the kitchen. It looked like any regular kitchen, with the usual appliances. The sink was beginning to fill up with dishes. Not surprising, considering what Maya was going through. There was a large fruit bowl in the center of the island. Next to it stood a box of oatmeal. The plastic lid had a huge cut, as if someone had slashed it with a knife. He found it odd and was about to ask her about it when he saw that she had caught him looking at it. She bit her lip and turned away as soon as their eyes met. He made a mental note of it and moved on. Something to think about after the interview. In the meantime, she quietly picked up the box and put it away in the pantry. Angela and Paul seated themselves on the couch while they waited for her. The house was tastefully decorated, and they surveyed it in admiration. There was a fireplace across from them. On the mantel stood a few photo frames with pictures of Maya and Jay, one from their wedding day, another of them bundled up on what looked like a ski trip. They seemed happy. A few minutes later, Maya was back with a piping hot cup of tea. Paul enviously observed her sipping it. "Maya, how long were you married?" started Angela. "A little over 8 years." "No kids?" "No, we never got around to it." "I know I asked you this earlier as well, but during the time you were together, do you know of anyone who might have wanted to harm your husband?" Maya thought about it for a few seconds. "Well, the truth is, he wasn't easy to get along with, and he did annoy a lot of people. But I don't think it was reason enough for anyone to murder him. Except, now that I think of it." "Yes, Maya, what is it?" "There's Mark Harrison. You know, the Smart Cloud CEO? He had a falling out with Jay a few years ago, even threatened to kill him one time. But he's a nice man, and I don't think he would follow through. It was probably said in the heat of the moment." "Ah, yes. I remember reading something about a lawsuit. Can you refresh my memory?" asked Angela, more for the benefit of Paul. "Jay used to work with him at Smart Cloud. Then Jay left to start his own venture in the same space. Mark felt blindsided and accused him of stealing IP, but Jay denied the claim. It infuriated Mark, and he filed a lawsuit, which was settled in Jay's favor last year. They had had huge fights on the subject before, but after this result it was crazy. That's when Mark made his threat." "What did he say exactly?" Angela tried to keep her excitement in check. This could be another promising lead. "Oh, I don't know the exact words he used, and Jay told me about it. He was actually happy. Happy to see Mark squirm." "I see. This could be important. We will follow up on this. Anything between them after that?" "No, that was the last I heard about Mark. Of course, Jay would gloat about his victory all the time, but I don't think he ever communicated with Mark directly after that. Maya hesitated a bit, then added, There is one other thing I think you should know about. It may mean nothing, but I might as well tell you. Go on. Every detail is important, urged Angela, intrigued. About 6 months ago, Jay started receiving threatening letters in the mail, roughly one every 2 weeks. They were all about how someone would murder him because of something he had done in the past. At first, it looked like a practical joke, and we laughed it off. But they continued. He was unconcerned. I was worried. I asked him to report it to the police, but he destroyed them. So you don't have any of the letters? No, but I did manage to take a picture of one before he burned it, and I was able to save one of the envelopes. Maya unlocked her phone and started looking for the picture. While she searched, Angela asked, Are the letters still coming? No, they stopped last month. But I wasn't concerned anymore. I mean, why would someone go to the trouble of sending so many over the course of months? It didn't make sense. If this person was serious, he would have just done the deed without the drama. Maya stopped swiping. Ah, found it. She showed them the letter. It was a letter-sized sheet of white paper, which had been folded in half and unfolded. Nothing was written on it. Instead, everything was spelled out using letters cut out of a newspaper. Angela's first impression was that it was a prank. The letter said, Your time has come. Repent before it is too late. You will die for your sins, you scumbag. How about the envelope? Can we see it? Yes, I have it right here. I kept it ready since I knew you would be returning. Maya walked over to the kitchen and took the envelope out of the top drawer. When she was back, Angela noticed it had been crumpled and straightened out. There was no return address. Jay's name and address was on a printed label. The letter had been mailed from Oakland on November 13th, the previous year. Any chance of visible fingerprints was slim, thought Angela. Still, she had Maya place it directly into an evidence bag. We will get this checked out for prints and any other useful clues we can find. Do you mind sending us the pic of the letter? Sure, I will send it now. Sorry about the condition of the envelope. I picked it up after Jay had crumpled it and thrown it in the bin. Don't worry about it. Were the other letters also mailed from Oakland? Oh, I didn't check. I was so focused on the content. It's okay. Don't you find it interesting that they stopped a month before the murder? Yes, I suppose so. In hindsight, I feel they might be related. But I still don't understand why someone would go to all that trouble. Maybe they were warning him, or rather threatening him to do something, or make amends for something. When nothing happened, the writer punished him. In any case, we will follow up on this as well. Were there any other threats of any kind? Any phone calls, emails? None that I know of. Maya. Now, this might be a delicate question, but I have to ask. How was your relationship with Jay? You think I had something to do with his death? Asked Maya, her eyes widening as her hand went up to her mouth. Please don't take it the wrong way. It's a standard question we have to ask. We have to cover all bases. Well, to be honest, he wasn't easy to live with. I can't say I was in love with him anymore. I guess he would say the same. But we managed somehow. This was an interesting development, thought Angela. Did you hate him? Hate him? At times, yes. But not enough to kill him, if that's what you mean. How did the two of you meet? Angela tried a different approach. The traditional Indian way. It was an arranged marriage. My parents found his ad on a matrimonial website and invited his family over. I wasn't interested in getting married at the time, but once I met him, I liked him. He was handsome and dressed smartly. I felt an instant attraction. We saw each other often after that, and as I got to know him better, I started falling in love. He was an intelligent man and could hold a conversation on a variety of subjects. I accepted his proposal and we got married a few months later. So you did love him at one point? Yes. It's hard to believe, but I did. Things were different once we were together, and I got to see the real Jay. He was quite self-centered and uncaring. Didn't help with the chores at all. I was always so exhausted, managing work and home. It was crushing. He changed for the worse as time went by, and he became more successful in his career. There was an arrogance, an irritability, a total disregard for other people's feelings. So yes, I found I couldn't love him anymore. That sounds awful. You must have fought a lot. Yes, we did, but nothing out of the ordinary. Most couples fight. But you still miss him. What kind of a question is that? Of course I miss him. He was still my husband, and we had a life together, replied Maya, raising her voice. Angela thought she saw her eyes well up a little. Is that why you never had children? Why is it relevant? Asked Maya, showing no signs of backing down. It's okay. You don't have to answer that. Maya, where were you that evening? So we are back to this? I didn't kill him. And if you really want to know, yes, I didn't want to have kids with him. Wouldn't be fair to them to being raised in this environment. I understand. But please, answer the question. Where were you? I was working late, and I didn't get home until around 10 p.m., replied Maya, the calm returning to her voice. Anyone who can confirm that? Yes, several members of my team were with me. You can talk to them. We certainly will. By the way, did either of you have any association with Purdue University? Angela knew the answer from her own research, but wanted to confirm it. Purdue? No, we both studied at universities in California. Thank you, Maya. We don't have any more questions. Sorry to bother you so soon after the tragedy, but we didn't have a choice. I understand. I'm available in case you think of something else. Oh, and here is his car key. Did you find the car? Not yet, replied Angela as the detectives made their way out the door. Angela's phone buzzed as soon as they stepped out of the house. She took the call, then turned to Paul after hanging up. Quite a coincidence. We just got the car key, and they found Jay's car. It was still in the parking lot at Intelligent Systems. Interesting. Did he Uber it over to Sunnyvale, or did someone else drive him over? Another possibility is that he drove there in his own car. We didn't find any keys on him. The killer could have driven his car back to Milpitas to throw us off the track. That's one theory. Quite possible he was meeting someone there. We need his cell phone records. May get some leads. How is that coming along? Phone companies dragging their heels as always, but I have my contact working on it. Skirting the laws? Well, the way I look at it, we have the subpoena and are legally entitled to that data. We play by the rules and we get them in a few weeks. Or I use my method and we get them in a few days. We don't have the luxury of weeks. This will help us make progress on the case. The key is to only document any of this formally after we have obtained the records legally. And that way we don't get into any trouble. I like your approach. By the way, did you see the oatmeal box? Uh-huh. What was the deal with that? She was worried when we saw it. I don't know. Perhaps she did it out of frustration and was embarrassed. It's been a huge loss for her. People cope in different ways. I wouldn't worry about it. Just odd, that's all. Once the detectives left, Maya closed the door and walked back inside. It was the second time this week she had been careless. It was quite unlike her. What was she thinking, leaving the oatmeal out? She resolved to be more careful from here on. Talking about those early days with Jay brought back a flood of memories. The first time their lips had met, that electric feeling that ran through her. She had kissed before, but what she had experienced with him had been special. She remembered the time he had tried to take it to the next level, but she had refused, preferring to wait until they were married. And how could she forget her disappointment when she made love for the first time, on their honeymoon, only to discover what a lousy and selfish lover he was. To think she had saved her virginity for that. She couldn't help but think about Mohit, her neighbor and study partner back in India in her teenage years. Their platonic relationship had developed into something more when they had shared their first kiss during a homework session in her bedroom. Her mother walked in on them before they could take it any further. A severe tongue lashing and a month of stern treatment from her mother made her resolve to be a decent Indian girl and not give in to boys until marriage. What a terrible decision in hindsight. Wearily, she plopped herself on the couch. She had spent most of the previous day talking to her and Jay's parents. Breaking the news to them had been hard. They were understandably devastated. What made it worse was the fact that, due to their health problems, neither set would be able to visit. Maya had slept after those long, draining conversations. She had woken later in the evening when Anjali had come over with a home-cooked meal. A steaming bowl of rice and lentils prepared with Indian spices. Simple food. Comfort food. Just like her mother would have made. Maya had wolfed it down, so thankful she had such a caring friend and neighbor. Her phone showed a lot of missed calls from her friends and coworkers. The news was spreading, but she hadn't the energy to call back. It could wait a few days.